everybody, and welcome to the Sports Show. This is the premiere episode, and I am Mark Anthony, as always, your host here in the Green Room. For those of you who took the time to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter at the ITGR Show, I'd like to thank you. And for those of you who haven't, be sure to get on it right after the show. You know, by early Monday morning, I wasn't sure I'd have much to go on in terms of Major League Baseball, but it's a funny thing, the trade deadline. Things happen pretty quick. Seemed like star after star was getting dealt, but a few trades stuck out more than others for me, and I'd really like to start off with the Dodgers acquiring Rich Hill and Josh Reddick from Oakland. You know, I believe this really was a trade by necessity, and for a team like the Dodgers, who every year seems to be in the middle of the madness come deadline day, this is one of their better moves. Look, the reality is, Clayton Kershaw has no timetable for a return to baseball activities, so it was a must to get a pitcher like Rich Hill. And he really can fill in here and lead the charge for the month of August as the Dodgers face the Giants atop the division, and maybe even help Dodger fans miss Kershaw a little less. But I don't want to get to comparing the two. You know, that's really kind of unfair to Rich Hill, but you got to look at the numbers. He posted a 9-3 record with a 2.25 ERA and a sub-1.1 WHIP, and that's pitching in the American League. I mean, that's dominance you really can't overlook, right? And I think the best part about the deal is the effect of it will get even better when Kershaw returns. At that point, you're looking at a two-headed pitching monster that can impose its will and shut down any lineup, really, on any night. Not to mention the three quality arms behind him in the rotation. This is a pitching staff who can make its way all the way through to the postseason. Now, all that's left is for the offense to pick up the slack. They sit right in the middle of the pack in the NL in total offense, but along with Rich Hill, remember, came Josh Reddick. And when healthy, he truly is an exciting and dynamic player. Right now, he's getting on base, on average, more than he has in his entire career. And the Dodgers are hoping he keeps that pace up, and he's that spark the offense needs. And I agree with them. I think this guy can really be the difference on offense. And as we look ahead over the Dodgers' next 57 games, 36 of them come against teams with a sub-500 record. Now, I want you to think about that number. That's way more than half of their remaining games come against teams with a sub-500 record. Now, compare that to the Giants, who only have 23 games against teams without a winning record. It's easy to say the Dodgers are in a better position to take over first place in the division and keep it.
Now let's move on to the American League, and I think it's a no-brainer the Texas Rangers really were baseball's biggest winners at the deadline. The Rangers not only made a move at the deadline as expected, but made two and acquired three players from them. The first of the moves sent catcher Jonathan Lucroy and pitcher Jeremy Jeffress to Texas from Milwaukee in a blockbuster deal. Now, reports were earlier in the day that Lucroy vetoed a trade to the AL Central leading Indians due to the fact they wouldn't drop his 2017 club option. Cleveland's loss was Texas's eventual gain in this one. Lucroy has consistently been a force at the plate and is one of the top offensive producing catchers in the bigs. The now two-time All-Star has continued his bounce-back year from last year's injury and shows really no sign of slowing down. But don't get it twisted, his capabilities don't end just with the bat. He's no schmuck behind the plate either. He boasts veteran experience behind the plate and leadership of handling a pitching staff on an everyday basis. Lucroy has a career .992 fielding percentage when you look at the numbers, and this season, he's gunning a career-high 40% of base stealers. His impact should show on both sides of the game and prove to be a great addition by the Texas Rangers. And let's not forget, he wasn't the only player to be sent to Texas in that deal. Relief pitcher Jeremy Jeffress went along with him, and Jeffress has been a steady and solid arm out of Milwaukee's bullpen the last 3 seasons, a complete turnaround from earlier in his career. It is going to be interesting how he fares in the American League, where he has a career .489 ERA, which is 2+ points higher than his career NL ERA at 2.38. So long as we see the Jeffress of the last 3 seasons, or even somewhere in between, then Texas has landed a quality late inning arm as well. You would think that after sending 3 prospects to Milwaukee, the Rangers would be done, but they weren't. Later in that day, Texas struck a deal with the New York Yankees that sent top prospect Dylan Tate to the Yankees for Carlos Beltran. At first glance, I personally really wasn't fond of this deal. You have a player like Beltran who is obviously reaching the very end of his career, and you're giving up a former first-round pick. I mean, really, 2 years ago was a first-round pick, but the more you read into it, the more it really makes sense for the now in Texas. And like I said, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to know this is the last and best we're going to see out of Beltran, but right now he's having his best season since 2011. And in the now, for the playoff push, Beltran is a great middle-of-the-order bat for a team who already ranks 4th in the AL in total offense. The Rangers already held the best record in the American League, and after these deals, they are undoubtedly the favorites out of the AL. The trade deadline really impacted the American League much more than it did the National League. Before the trade deadline, the American League was really a league of 2 teams. that you can really see going on and playing some real October baseball and making a push to represent the American League in the World Series. But after these deals coming to Texas, some deals that Cleveland made, a couple deals that the Red Sox made, the American League is now more interesting than ever. August will fly just as fast as the rest of the summer has, and fall baseball will be here before you know it. But at this point, I'll be looking forward to our Texas Ranger Chicago Cub World Series. And that wraps up my MLB review. And you're not going to want to miss our fantasy football show. I will be joined by special co-host Brian the Raider Guy, and we will go over who should be the first 5 picks in your fantasy draft. Go like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter at the ITGR Show. Thank you for tuning in, and see you next time, Fanatics.